Okay, this is People of the State of Michigan versus Joshua Segrist, docket number 20-841FH. Mr. Segrist, I've got two different addresses. One's on Wright Road and one's on Sycamore. Which is your correct one?
Yes, Your Honor. The Sycamore is my current address. The Wright Road is my previous address.
Got it. And how far did you go in school?
I went through high school, graduated, and then I went through tech school for EMT paramedic, and I finished off with some training at fire rescue up north.
Excellent. And I assume you're employed now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Where at?
Carter Lumber. I've been there 11 months and I think a week now. My year will be up in March, beginning of March.
Great. Would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Segrist, you have the right to an attorney. You are represented by Ms. Tringle. And Ms. Tringle, which count or counts is this a plea to?
He will be entering a plea to the carrying concealed weapon. Just 1 second.
Count one.
Count
One, thank you.
Will you waive reading the balance of the information?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, would you read count one, please?
In the People of the State of Michigan versus Joshua Segrist, file 20-841-FH, State of Michigan, County of Ingham, in the name of the people of the State of Michigan, the prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about June 7, 2020, at Wright Road, Leslie Township, Ingham County, the defendant did in count one commit the offense of carrying a concealed weapon, that he did carry a concealed weapon, to wit, a pistol, whether concealed or otherwise in a vehicle operated or occupied by said defendant, to wit, a trailblazer, contrary to Michigan law. This is a felony punishable by up to 5 years or $2,500, mandatory forfeiture of weapon or device, and was committed against the peace and dignity of the state of Michigan.
Mr. Segrist, you are being charged here with what's known as carrying a pistol in an automobile. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. If you were on parole at the time of the offense, it would also be a mandatory consecutive sentence. Have you had enough time to talk about this charge with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand the charge against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing?
No, ma'am.
How do you want to plead?
Guilty.
If your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with a trial. I was handed an advice of rights form. I just want to make sure it's the most up-to-date one. Is this your form?
I pulled it offline. I didn't check it. Looking at it, it appears it's from a different county.
Right. It's missing one of the required elements, actually, and then it has others that are not required under the court rule. Okay, I'll go through them verbally. So I said you're giving up the rights that go along with a trial. I'll go through those rights with you, Mr. Segrist. You'll be giving up the right to a trial by jury, or if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. You'll be giving up the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll be giving up the right to have the witnesses against you appear at the trial and to be able to cross-examine them, as well as the right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have to appear at the trial. You'll give up your right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or alternatively to testify at the trial if you wanted to. And also there's some differences on regarding appeals. When you plead guilty, you don't get an automatic right to appeal your case to the higher court. Instead, you have to ask them to hear your case, and they would have to agree to hear it. And then there's a lot of issues that you simply cannot appeal when you plead guilty. Unlike people who go to trial, if they get convicted, they can appeal a whole range of issues. Do you understand those rights, Mr. Segrist?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, if I accept your plea, it means you cannot come back later on and try to claim that the plea was the result of some promise or a threat that no one told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
It also means you cannot come back later on and try to claim that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Understood.
And Ms. Allen, is there a plea agreement?
There is, Your Honor. In exchange for the defendant's successful plea and sentence to count 1, the people agreed to dismiss the balance of the felony information. There's also a sentence agreement pursuant to People versus Killebrew that the defendant's upfront jail will not exceed 12 months in the Ingham County Jail.
Okay. And I believe in this case, I did a Cobb's agreement, and that was no upfront jail. And I did that based on the information I was told at the time about the underlying facts of this case and any potential criminal history. And so Ms. Tringle, is all of that a full and complete statement of the agreement in this case?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and Mr. Segrist, is that your understanding of the agreement as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you agree with it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, these sentence agreements aren't absolute. So if, for instance, if I decided to give you more, let's say I learned something at sentencing that was totally unknown to me before, and I did not know it when I said that I would do a no upfront jail Cobb's agreement, I would, if it changed my mind about that Cobb's agreement, I would tell you before I sentenced you, and I would give you a chance to take back your plea and start over because of that. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Has anyone promised you anything else other than what's been said here right now in order to get you to plead guilty?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone used any threats?
No, Your Honor.
Is this your own choice?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you pleading guilty because you believe you are in fact guilty of this offense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then tell me about June 7th of last year and what did you do regarding count 1?
From the beginning, ma'am?
Well, there was a pistol. Why don't we talk about that?
Yes, ma'am. I got a frantic call from my daughter asking for help for me to get down right away to the front of my house. And when I went out to the front of the house, I couldn't see anybody. They were actually down at the intersection closest to my home. And I heard yelling, I saw motorcycles, vehicles. I ran back into the house to get shoes on, grab my keys and put the dogs back in. And I headed down there right away. No excuse, Your Honor, but lots of guns down there, shooting all day long in the country, very common. So I was just very scared for my daughter, my family. And when I went down there, I saw my daughter was able to cut through somebody's yard and leave, but I had somebody approaching my vehicle and to the driver's side. And I asked the gentleman repeatedly what had happened. I saw more motorcycles, more people around. I was worried somebody was hurt. And he got very ugly and started explaining to me what had happened and threatening me. And he was wanting to assault me over my daughter, over her boyfriend, over my brother-in-law. And after I wouldn't get out of my vehicle, he immediately started punching the window right behind me, trying to get me out. And that's when I presented the gun and asked everybody to get back, and he wouldn't. I discharged around, ma'am, to get out of there. I didn't go down there with any intentions of hurting anybody or anything like that. I was just panicking.
Okay. Where did you have the gun? Did you have it in the car at first?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you had it in the car and you drove down to where they were, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And where in the car was it?
It was on my lap.
Okay. You didn't have any, well, even if you had legal authority to carry it, it can't be on your lap in the car, and that's where you had it.
Yes, yes, Your Honor, correct.
Okay, and this was a pistol or a handgun, is that right?
Yes, correct.
And This happened on Wright Road in Leslie Township, Ingham County, Michigan. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, at the intersection of Wright Road and Fitchburg.
Okay. Has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Tringle?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Ms. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Tringle?
No, Your Honor.
The court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea. It's supported by the testimony. The plea is accepted. Sentencing date is Monday, March 22nd at 3 o'clock. Does that work for everybody?
Was that the 22nd you said?
Yes, Monday, March 22nd at 3 o'clock.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Segrist, do you agree that we can do the sentencing remotely so that you're not in the courtroom?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm okay with that.
Okay, good. I just have to ask. I'm allowed to do a plea without your permission, but not a sentencing. So it will be on the 22nd then at 3 o'clock via Zoom. And Mr. Segrist, you just need to know that the probation department will be contacting you for an interview. It is a really important interview because it's for the report that I use for sentencing. So if you don't hear from them very soon, like in the next couple of days, please contact the adult probation, Ingham County Adult Probation. Ms. Tringle can give you the phone number and tell them that you need to have that interview set up. They do it remotely, but it'll be an interview face-to-face. And unless you have any questions, we are all set.
No, Your Honor, thank you for your time today.
Sure, you're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.